Hello everybody, my name is Nick Newman. I am a student of neuropsychology, an occult practitioner, and a hermeticist. And this channel is the Conscienticon, where we share practical spiritual occult wisdom. So I'd just like to begin by thanking Zero Mage for sponsoring today's video. And if you would like to sponsor a future video or a topic and have it posted under your name, all it takes is $3 and become a patron. The first 103 tier patrons get a video posted forever. In today's video, Zero wanted to talk about is truth. Now, I have a very unique perspective when it comes to truth because I consider myself more of a Taoist. And that means that I like to ride the line between black and white. I like to ride in two worlds. I like to keep flexible. And so lying on occasion is part of my repertoire. I know, and that's really crazy for some people to understand. And I'm going to break down why I say this. I don't lie unless it's absolutely necessary. And the thing I think I see the most in the world is so many people walking around thinking that lying is unnecessary. You know what I mean? Lying is a tactic that is, well, all children can do it. Children can lie around 3 years old. They can go around and they can start lying and telling false tales about the narrative of reality. So why is this? This isn't something necessarily learned. It's partially learned, and it's partially part of our nature to lie, because it is also part of our nature to share stories and information with other people, right? And sometimes the best way out of getting in trouble or getting, in some cases, physically abused, hurt, injured, sometimes you have to lie. And that's the biggest thing that I think, oh God, it's one of those biggest things that like really pulled me out of the deeper spiritual communities, because you end up down these paths where these people hold these ideas so strongly, they become so rigid in their beliefs that they have no flexibility whatsoever. And then they go down the road eventually saying, okay, I'm just going to speak the truth always. And it's like, okay, in the spiritual realm, truth is the way, of course, but we are physical creatures. We live in a world where it's not quite always nice to be alive in. And that is an unfortunate thing to say. And I think it's exceptionally naive to think that you can go through the world without ever having to tell a fib, right? There are certain times when it is necessary. And so I'll give you an example of a time. And since this is the Conscienticon, we love wizards at the Conscienticon. I heard this story. This is from Benedict Cumberbatch, right? So this is the guy who played the wizard in Doctor Strange, okay? This guy was kidnapped in South Africa, thrown into a trunk after having guns pointed at him and whatnot. And then he gets out and he tells them, and this could be true, could not be true. I don't know. I wasn't there. But according to him, he told them that he had a heart condition and that he was really sick and all this, and the guys let him go, right? And so in a scenario like this where somebody kidnaps you and a lie gets you out, are we going to naively say that the truth is the way? And this is one of my biggest arguments against any kind of Jordan Peterson philosophy, is that you know, one must speak the truth at all times, or at least try to speak the truth or say nothing at all. There are just scenarios in life where misdirection is absolutely necessary. And to say that we're going to live without misdirecting anybody is to me, it is violating some of the laws of nature. This is because you see lies and deception in nature everywhere. When an animals actually evolve whole traits and speciate just on the ability to disguise themselves, because we live in a world where sometimes if you are vibrant, if you are true, you get struck down. And so that's all I want to say about my perspective of truth, that it is necessary at times. Now, here's the other part. This is why I do hold truth very high. At the same time, I know that it's necessary to lie at times, depending on your circumstance. But if you can live a life of truth, that is the most powerful life you can live, by far. I think, when people strive for strength, when they strive to optimize their life, when they strive to get better, a lot of the times what you see is they're trying to live their truth. That's what it is. I talked to a friend on Reddit who talked about how she had to basically sacrifice all her family just to live a life where she could have a wife, right? And she had a wonderful wedding and all this, and I'm communicating with her, and she tells me, hey, this cost my family to do this. So I could be truthful, because my family did not believe in women loving women. But her truth inside, that was her truth. And it required deep sacrifice to live, right? Now, had she been in a situation where she was financially dependent on this family, and for whatever reason, she probably did or may have had to lie about her true character just to be around. And it is a painful life to live, because it's every time you have to lie, there is a price to be paid for a lie. And a lot of people don't understand that. Every time and I think of it in this sense, if I feel like I have to lie in a situation, I know there's some corruption in the environment. There's some level of corruption going on, because it is an environment that is encouraging me to create false narratives so I don't suffer in that environment. And that to me is a big red flag anytime I'm in a social dynamic where I have to hold a lie. If I'm out at work and I have to lie, I mean, depending on what the scenario is, it's kind of like a thermometer. Like, I got to get out of here. I can't live truthfully in this environment. But I was going to get to this idea that being honest is a powerful way to be, and everyone strives to be powerful. The most powerful person in the whole world would never have to tell a lie. Now, they could do whatever they want, right? But they wouldn't have to lie, because there would be nothing that would scathe them if they did lie. And the weakest person in the world has to lie consistently to survive. And that's pretty interesting to think about. And this revelation came to me through some stealing, right? Because I used to steal every once in a while. And I've quit stealing. Now, is stealing above me or below me? No. If I'm in a situation where I feel I must survive, I will still steal to survive. I mean, I feel like just this creature that suffers and takes up space, I have the right to at least try and survive if necessary. Now, I've known friends who have I know people and friends that have had to steal to eat. You know what I mean? And so what I was thinking, right, when I was crossing this bridge, is that it's a weak state. Anytime you feel you have to steal, you steal because you can't get it reasonably. You can't get it through a fair transaction. You can't live a life where you own that thing outright and there be nothing wrong. No, you have to be covert about it. You have to take something, and then you have to hide the thing you take, and then you have to wait until eventually down the line the person who you stole from finds out that they're missing said item, and then has to track down. And basically, you're weaving reality when you steal or you lie. You're creating false narratives that eventually, here's why it's evil. Eventually, people fall down those trajectories, and it causes them suffering. So you steal some money from somebody, right? And you don't think, oh, they don't need this money, right? And then eventually down the road, they come across a path where they need that money, and they go for it, thinking that they're all good. And then what you have taken from them is gone. So they can no longer follow that trajectory, and it's chaos for them. And it is the same way when you lie. When you lie about something, you create a false narrative that somebody walks down, right? And it can really hurt them. So that's kind of the thing, right? But lying and stealing make you weak, because I've thought about this, about if I had to cross that path again, because I've had to steal to eat before. But I thought, maybe it would have been better just to starve. And here's why I say this. It would have been better just to starve because I would have been living a life of truth and integrity. I wouldn't have lowered myself to that degree to survive, and then subconsciously reinforced in my mind that that is absolutely necessary. It would have almost been better to fast and then to really deeply scrounge. But there have been moments in my life where I've stolen for food and stuff, and food is a unique thing. I think the rules change when you've got people stealing food. There's something up, right? There's something deeply troubled with the environment if that's what's going on. But the thing is, truth allows integrity to be built within you. And if you don't have any integrity, you don't have the optimal ability to execute your internal will. And that's the thing. It weakens you because reality has taught you thus far and how you've interacted with reality that you must lie and that's okay, so that hurts your ability to make friends. That you must steal and that's okay because more people have more than you, and you're in a lower position, so it's okay for you to steal. You see what I'm saying? It lowers you psychologically. It makes you kind of a creature if you do it too many times. It makes you some sort of a scummy shitbag, to be honest, if you do it too much. Because nobody wants a thief around them. Nobody wants anybody who lies all the time around them. Because they want to navigate a future that's true. Now, if people hold it in their minds that this is acceptable, what they've done is they have lowered themselves and said, okay, it's okay for me to do this. Everybody does it or whatever, and the game's rigged and all this, so I've got to behave this way. But it weakens you because then when you are in situations where you need to act right, instead of having the internal strength and the conviction of knowing, I have suffered before, I have won, I have been victorious and honorable and truthful in difficult scenarios, instead of feeling that, you are always going to resort to, oh, I could just cheat. I could just lie. These sorts of things, they accumulate, and eventually it topples in on that person. And then not only does it topple in on that person, it weakens them. And the more you do it, the more it scars your psyche because you think you're a creature that must lie for fundamental existence. You are that weak and that pathetic. Whew. Right. So, that is how I feel about truth. And I've heard truth be described as a double-edged sword. So it cuts both ways, right? And when you're honest, you can't go back and live an unhonest reality. You know what I mean? You have to almost compensate for all the wrongs you've done once you become honest. Let's say you've been living a lie for a while. You have to compensate, and then you lose trust with everybody that you created that false narrative with. They're not going to trust you again. And then you've lost trust in yourself. But really, I think taking a step towards truth and honesty really gives you that integrity, gives you that power. And, I'll tell you a little story. When a long time ago, I would spend time with my girlfriend and my wife, right? I'd spend time, and there'd be things she wanted to do, and I didn't want to do it. But I wanted to keep her in my life so bad, and want to be a good boyfriend so bad that I would just subjugate myself to whatever it was she was doing. Whether it was on TikTok, whether it was on, watching movies or whatever. But my truth inside was, I don't want to do this. I want to go make something, or I want to go adventure, or I want to go, a lot of it was building. That I wanted to do, constructing something, and Conscienticon is one of those things. And I was just so afraid that she would get bored, right? And so I just suffered until one day I just snapped, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. You know what? If you want to hang out with me, I'm going to be doing this thing, and this thing. And she was totally okay with it. That was kind of funny. I think it was kind of funny that I think a lot of guys get in that situation when they get a girlfriend for this first time. They kind of domesticate themselves. When it's funny, what's funny is that the wildness is really, really what attracted their partner in the first place. So for a lot of guys, the wildness, that desire, that ambition, from the feminine, that is a very attractive thing. And a lot of us just basically neuter ourselves in new scenario or new relationships in order to stay attractive, because we think that's what they want, right? They want to spend time with you. They don't technically want to spend time with you. They want the want of spending time with you. As funny as that may sound. So that's one example. But after that, our relationship got better because I was living honestly. I wasn't saying, hey, you know, I love all these reality shows. Oh, I love these shows. No, I'm like, I don't give a shit about these things. I don't care about these things. And if this is a requirement for our relationship, it'd be better for me to be alone. Now, that doesn't mean I don't watch stuff with her from time to time, but that's kind of the truth. Integrity makes you powerful, right? I was honest with her, and so now I get more free time, right? That makes me powerful. I live truthfully. I'm not lying. And if you are in a situation or an environment where you cannot be honest, you've got to get the hell out of that environment. Or you have to be so radically honest that the trash leaves, which is what happens. If you watch these shows, there's some TV shows about renovation. There's like Hotel Hell and all this. I love Gordon Ramsay TV shows, for example. And I love it because what he does to fix all these places is he goes in and he's just brutally honest. He's like, there's trash in your fridge. How long has this food been in here? You're unclean. This place looks like trash. All this. He just cuts with the truth, right? And what happens is people either adapt or they leave. And so when they leave, the liars are the ones that tend to leave. These people that are trying to create this false narrative for so long because they're weakened in their soul, in their psyche. They are weakened. They have had to lie and to scrounge and to do all these deceptive things and steal and feed people bad food for so long that they think that that's okay, you know? And then eventually they end up either having to change their colors completely or they leave. They get fired or they get cut out. And that's what happens every episode. That's basically what happens is truth aligns the place up. Because truth is congruent with future trajectories of reality. Future beyond us. It creates patterns way, way beyond us when you leave truth behind. Right? And that's why I'm trying to be so honest as I can when I make videos on the Conscienticon, because I want, you know, if people ever look back on my life, I want them to be like, oh, this guy had some integrity. He actually did the shit he said he did. Which is rare. It's fucking rare. Because how many of y'all are going to roll up in my house and check on me, right? I'm not going to roll up on your house and check on you. No, integrity is built inside the internal narrative with yourself. It really doesn't matter at all what is going on with anybody else. The future integrity, when you say you're going to do something and you execute on said thing, you become powerful because your reality becomes honest. You're like, oh shit, I said I was going to run a mile. And I did. Shit, I'm that dude that runs miles. Like, that's how it works. It's like, I said I was going to increase my income. I did. I'm that dude that increased his income when he said he was going to do it. Like, integrity and honesty and truthfulness. When you say something, you need to really execute. You need to do it. And a lot of the times when people say they want to do something and don't execute, it could be because of past lost integrity within themselves, past lost honesty. There's no reason for me to go out and boast or brag to somebody unless I'm really executing, right? And if I'm doing it just to boast or to brag, what I'm trying to do is elevate them in their, elevate me in their eyes. But I'm still, if I'm not executing what I say I'm going to do, I'm still inside. There's that part of me that's like, you're a failure, you're a loser, you have to lie. There are people out here doing what you say you're doing and you're not doing. So truth. Zero, I thank you so very deeply for helping support the Conscienticon. And everybody here joining today, if you're brand new, please comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me what you think about honesty and truth in this world. I think honesty is a good magic. Truth is a good magic. Lies are dark magic. That's me simplifying it. And sometimes in life you require dark magic to get through intense scenarios, and sometimes but if you can stay in the light, you will stay and become, not only become, but stay exceptionally powerful. And that's where we all want to be, exceptionally powerful. This is Nick Newman with the Conscienticon, and I thank you all so very deeply. Please take care of yourselves and live with integrity. Start making some called shots in your life. Called shots. Call a shot and execute and win. You can do it.